Hello, friends, and welcome back. Kalani Das of World Drum Club. So happy to be with you again on this fine Sunday. Kalani, how are you?
I am doing well, thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me back, and thanks everybody for dropping in on the live stream or watching later. And yeah, I'm doing okay. Enjoying some nice weather down here. We're doing some gardening. Life's good. So
Kalani is in Los Angeles, and I am in the Hudson Valley, New York. And it's warming up a little bit, but April is still really cold, usually in New York City and New York State. So trees are bare. We're just barely getting our spring on. And I want to welcome some of the folks who are here live. Hi, Random Notes. Hi, Barry. Great to have you here. Please give us your questions and your suggestions as we go. We would like this to be interactive. So first things first, hi everybody, I'm Joule L'Adara and I am associated with a wonderful company called We Play Well Together, which is founded by Gabrielle Schwiebach. It's also based in California, certified woman-owned company in California. And Gabrielle's originally from Germany and specializes in distributing fine handcrafted intuitive instruments from mainly three companies, Hokema Kalimbas, Metal Sounds tongue drums and hand pans, and feeltone, who makes wooden tongue drums and monochord instruments. And in that intro, just now, Kalani was playing the monolini, which is a little monochord. And so we wanted to bring you in with the monochord. And the monochord is the instrument I'm most known for. I'm actually the official feeltone trainer for the monochord. I lived in Germany for a bit and translated their training and offer it to folks here in the US, both in person and virtually. So if you're wanting to learn more about the monochord, reach out to us at weplaywelltogether.com. And I'm so happy that we started this collaboration with Kalani Das of World Drum Club. For any of you in our audience who don't know Kalani, please check out World Drum Club on YouTube, and he also has a wonderful Patreon account where you can get all kinds of bonus classes, and there's just a wealth of information here at World Drum Club. So this is a collaboration between We Play Well Together and World Drum Club, where we're talking about intuitive music making with instruments. And to be honest, I'm a little under the weather today, and I think it's really important to just show up how we are. And sometimes it's a little bit, oh, wow, I don't know if I can even pull this off today. But as Kalani and I were saying in our check-in, our tech check-in, we get gold stars just for showing up sometimes. So I'm happy to be here with all of you. And a little tired, my voice is a little compromised, but I still love these instruments. I love talking about them. And Kalani is going to give us some beautiful live demonstrations as well. So Kalani, there's this idea or this word now that's being thrown about called wellness percussion. Of course, it's not a new idea, but it's maybe a buzz phrase at the moment that we can use percussion for wellness. But I'm curious what that means to you. What does wellness percussion mean?
well, of course, I mean percussion is easy. That's the easy part of the answer. Things that we hit, strike, scrape, slap. We don't treat them well. No, we tactile things, elemental in a way. They're very accessible. A lot of people talk about that, the accessibility of percussion. It's the first instrument we often get handed or hand an infant is a rattle. So we're playing percussion early on, and then drums and the little xylophones, the little rainbow xylophone that you tow around. So we're introduced to percussion very early on, also in school. So there's that part of it, that percussion is with us really from the beginning of our conscious life, as humans and people, and we're drumming. Drumming is very primordial. Hand percussion, body percussion, vocalizing. So that's all the percussion part. The wellness part can be seen through lots of different lenses. I like to see wellness as a multi-faceted, let's say a process where it has to do with what I take in, mentally, emotionally, physically, all the taking in part of whatever it is in my environment, and then also what goes out. How do I express myself? What do I say? What are my words? What are my deeds? What are what are my actions? What do I do? So that's how I see wellness. So as it relates to music wellness or percussion wellness, I would say that we put those together. So the question is, how can we use the instruments to express, to formulate an aesthetic that is meaningful to us as individuals? I think wellness is a personal thing. So we're leaving behind performance. We're leaving behind or not really considering the audience, anyone else. We're not really considering formalized music making or recreating necessarily. We're not trying to recreate or learn and reproduce music that's come before. Those we can still do all those things. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think music for wellness is a much more personal, intimate, subjective experience, and that's the nice thing about it is it'll look different for everybody. It can be very, very simple. It can be very gentle, or it can be, not gentle. It could be we've got full spectrum opportunities here for making sounds and involving our bodies and our voices and just the whole thing. And then we can take that also from the individual experience, which can be, again, very, personal, meaningful, intimate, and we can share that with a partner or a group of people. So there's lots of opportunities there. And one of the things, before I throw it back to you, one of the things I love about this collection of We Play Well Together instruments is that it allows us to play in a group or play with another person without having to intellectualize what we're doing, without having to understand or know or study the ins and outs of music theory, and we can just go straight into let's play together, and it'll sound great.
Thank you. What a beautiful, beautiful explanation. Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, I think there's this distinction between playing for others and playing for ourselves, and how I play for others, even in a wellness framework, is different than how I play for myself. I often am asked to play for meditation or transformational inner experiences, and there's a certain way of playing the monochords or the percussive instruments that really facilitates that. And so I have to be really mindful, how am I playing, and how might that be how might that be experienced by people, especially when you have people in a meditative state, either sitting with their eyes closed or laying down. They're in a much more receptive and sensitive and vulnerable state. So you would never want to do something kind of crazy if they're that receptive. On the other hand, if it's for myself, and if I am going through things, which I have in the last month or so, I've had, unfortunately, the passing away of a dear friend, and a lot of challenges in my personal life, and they are what they are. We don't get to bypass grief. Grief is something that comes in different stages, and one moment you're fine and the next minute you're not, and it's like a dance that you're moving through. And with these intuitive instruments, they can really, really be these extensions of our expression, which can be very, very therapeutic. And so when I'm alone in my space or out in the woods, where I'm not bothering people, or I'm not trying to facilitate an experience for people, I can then go into some really ugly, crazy places. It's not about keeping any kind of rhythm, and we can go into that dissonant dance, which sometimes needs to be expressed, because when we are holding it within us, it becomes so overwhelming that we can no longer function. So I've been with that a lot this past month, and it's been very, very, very helpful. And it's kind of so personal. I'm not going to demonstrate it myself today. I have a couple of videos if we have some time where I can kind of show what the gist of that is. But some of these things are really, yeah, they're not performative. They're not meant to be performed or even demonstrated. But we can give people the invitation. If there's something going on with you, pick up an instrument or anything that you have in your home and make some sound and allow that sound to move through you. So why don't we start
Absolutely.
with you? Would you like to maybe just kick us off with some sound since you're all set up and
Sure.
ready to go there?
Yeah, we're ready to go. Yeah, and I've got some instruments here. I've got the space drum here, the nitro hand pan. I've got a few things over here to my left. I've got the tinkatong, like you mentioned, the wooden instrument by Feeltone, and then I've also got the baby Zenko from Metal Sounds.
We lovingly call those
The element.
the baby turtles. That's our nickname for them.
The baby turtles.
Yeah.
Yes. And these are all, and I even got out the blue egg shaker because these are the aqua.
Yeah. Color
See,
coordinated.
matching. You know, that's what
Yeah.
you get. So that's why I'm a professional, Jewel, because it's the details.
Yeah, I'm so impressed. You've matched your ensemble, including your outfit, to the theme, the D minor aqua
Isn't
theme.
it?
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting how we use the term ensemble to describe our clothing, our clothing ensemble? Because it all fits,
Indeed. Indeed.
or it should, I guess. Um, according to you, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, and let's use that as a way to like you put on your ensemble, you dress the way you dress. Sometimes people are gonna hate on it. Sometimes they're gonna love it. But it's you do it because it helps you feel like you. So let's use that as the idea. Maybe that's a good transition to use music therapeutically or in wellness. Now, I think what you said, I'm going to dovetail on that idea of, and I'm paraphrasing what you said, I don't remember exactly the exact words, but correct me if I'm wrong or add to it. And that is that in order to process, our thoughts, feelings, emotions, I think and this is where I'll just say, this is my opinion, we first need to connect with them. And because acknowledging them and is so important to allowing them to be however they are, and then they move. They do their thing. And we're not rushing them. We're not trying to get rid of them. We're trying to be with them and acknowledge them. I believe that acknowledging hurt, pain, suffering, emotions, fear, anything like that, especially on the, let's say on the negative side, on the undesirable side, so important for wellness, because what happens if we don't do that, right? It's still there. We try to sweep it under the rug. We know that doesn't work. So it's all about getting stuff moving, and that's how we can use music
And I'll just jump in
to
and
connect.
and emphasize how important it is what you just said, that we're meeting ourselves where we're at, which is very different than this kind of bypassing, which sometimes happens in the meditation scene, where it's like, I'm just going to think the happy thoughts and the positive visualization, or I'm going to do the sound bath and just go to my happy place. And that's actually not really acknowledging where you actually are. And
Right.
it's so important, and it often doesn't work. It's like when you're in a really
Right.
sad mood and somebody plays a happy tune, it's like, get that away from me, because it's so far away from where I'm at right now. I'm not feeling
Right.
heard or met. And that's why the
Yes.
blues speaks to us, that whole genre of music. And so when we're doing intuitive music, I think it's really important that we can do our own version of the blues if we've got the blues, and then it might shift and go to a more positive place over time, and it often does. But we have to give it the space to go there organically.
I don't know if I mentioned this here on our live stream, but I know I've mentioned it before. And there's a whole area of therapy called validation therapy. And there's a woman, I think in New York area, that kind of pioneered this. And it's all about acknowledging and validating the feelings of a person and being with them not trying to cheer them up, not because that's invalidating. You know, oh, you'll get over it. Oh, let's go have ice cream. You know, no, let's not. Let's be in the uncomfortable space for a minute. Right? Let's be All right. Well, there's a little offering. You
Mm.
never know where we're going to end up with these things.
I loved the cymbals crashing in and out of that. It was, and I put Roseanne's comment up on the screen for a moment. I think when you're in a negative place, this kind of sound can be both validating and soothing. Mm.
Yeah, it's because validating where acknowledging that something sucks and that it's bad. It just feels bad, right? Is so powerful, and I do that a lot with my clients now. If I go to a music therapy, so I have music therapy clients, and sometimes I say, "How's it going?" They're like, "Oh, this and that, and this is not a good week," and I'm like, "Wow, that sucks." That's all I say. I don't say, "Oh, you'll be better." No. I'm trying to be with them and just acknowledge that sometimes things suck, and that's okay. That's part of life. But making art around it, I think, can be very therapeutic and help with our wellness, with our well-being, because it's about processing. It's about expressing. If we don't do that, oh my God! I mean, all kinds of terrible things happen, right? With sometimes publicly with people who are not able to maintain and care for themselves and have a way to express positively and perhaps artistically. Although the artistic thing, not important, right? The aesthetic is for the individual, not for the audience. But you know what I'm saying? It's just a way to externalize it, like process it, see it, be with it, feel it, let the emotions work. Let them run the course. They're there for a reason.
And I would add having some kind of practice, whether it's a daily practice or a weekly practice with your intuitive instruments, can be really supportive of this, because sometimes and often actually in life, emotions come up where we're not in a place where it's appropriate to express it. We're in the line at the bank, or we're dealing with our kids, or whatever the thing is that we have to be put on a good face and be professional
Yeah,
or take care of other people. And so we've things come up and we kind of shove them down, and we have to function in the world. So
sure.
having some
Yeah,
kind of percussion wellness practice where you have a space where it's not about making music or learning notes or even about practicing patterns, but I'm just going to express myself at this time. Sometimes it gives us the opportunity to express those things, those little tiny traumas and the little things that are just kind of building up in our system. And we might sit down and be in a good mood and then be playing something, and all of a sudden, whoa, where's this anger coming from, or where's this sadness? But it's okay because I've created the space and the invitation for that and to express it in
Yeah.
a safe way. And I'm not yelling at someone or exploding unexpectedly because I haven't dealt with what's going on. So it's a great practice for, and it feels really good actually. Sometimes it feels really good to get angry on a drum, right? Or crash the cymbals and do things out of time and just be in this kind of crazy expressive place.
Absolutely. It's honoring yourself. It's honoring where you are. It's saying this is real. This is what's happening with me. I'm expressing it and I'm experiencing it. I'm going towards it. I'm not going away from it. Because when you go away from things that are uncomfortable, guess what? They just follow you around. But if you go towards it, you can go through it, you can go in it, and you can come out the other side, whatever that looks like. You know, we're not saying, and this is not prescriptive. I just want to just put this out there because it's something I believe, and this may be different than what other people say, and that's okay. We all have different experiences, but healing through music, anything you do, this is a subjective experience. It's an aesthetic. It's a personally aesthetic experience. It's unique to you. And it is not a guarantee of anything happening either. It's not prescriptive in as much as we're saying, oh, if you do this, you know, then this is going to happen. No. If you do what you feel, though, if you connect with your feelings and your emotions and you express it, that happens, right? And when that happens, something happens, something changes. I'm not going to tell you what, you know, that's for you to experience. But I will say, yeah,
it's also just
having
holding
a
this,
safe space.
Yeah, holding the space and having
Yeah.
the self-invitation for whatever it needs to be on that particular
Exactly,
day.
yes.
So,
Yeah.
Kalani, I have
Just being present.
a fun little video that I wanted to play because I'm not at the setup to do the live version today, but I thought we could be the talking heads over this. This is just a fun
Sure.
little example from feeltone. These are the folks in Germany who make the beautiful monochord instruments. And they are a drone instrument, so they're often and usually played for meditation where you're strumming it in this very repetitive way. But you can also play it percussively, and there's these different mallets that you can get. So I love this little video that they created because they're kind of drumming on the strings and starting out kind of gentle, and then it kind of builds up over time and they get a little bit wild and crazy. But it's kind of a good example of what I was speaking of, this like having fun, being playful, having some space, but also letting some different kinds of emotions and expressions come out.
Mm.
So we can kind of headbang along with this as it builds up here.
I love how they started too, just with it. It was very cute and acknowledging each other.
You can do this with a very simple rhythm, as you can see. Just, you know, just keeping a 2 count or a 4 count.
Yeah, I like that it's very basic, but there's always variations happening. A lot of subtlety in there.
And in a moment, they're going to let their voices rip. Which is something you can do whether you're a singer or not. Just go into this sounding place where you're just letting that sound come through you. If anyone's watching, we can all do it together if you want. Just at that movement.
I need a wig, though. I feel like I need to...
Yeah, it helps to have long hair to flip around. Even if you're sitting watching, you can just take your hands and flip them around like this. Feels good. I think our folks enjoyed that. I hope you were
That's fun.
bouncing along. I love the scarves. That's whew. Color coordinated
These are
too. I
my,
have to add.
These are my, they are, right? These are my Stand With Ukraine scarves that I keep in the back.
Yeah.
But they come in handy for lots of different things, so.
I'm always surprised how these simple practices feel so good. Even though I've been teaching this stuff for a long time, I go, oh wait, I did my own advice, or I took my own advice. I just sat here and shook with you all, and I feel heaps better. So, thank you.
Yes. I mean, just even, a little bit of movement that goes along with the music. Of course, music and movement go together. We all know that. And we sometimes we do forget as adults, and we kind of get, things get rigid. We get rigid, and music also helps with that, right? We can play for each other. We can play for ourselves. But having just as another little facilitator tip thing, I often will give people scarves because people will feel comfortable moving a scarf, right? Because they're not technically dancing, and it's not them, right? They're not going to do but they'll move a scarf for you, right? So it's a step, It helps people. We call it a manipulative, right? So people will feel more comfortable moving a thing, even though they are also moving at the same time. But so it's
a great
little,
tip. Yeah.
It softens the ramp into movement.
Yeah, well, probably takes
that
the,
was fun. Yeah,
the focus away from the self too.
Exactly.
Which is what the instruments do too when you're playing them in this free way. That I'm not focusing on myself, but I'm with the object. Yeah.
Yes, and I would recommend that people also explore, and I think there's a couple takeaways from that video too that are important to acknowledge. One, and you mentioned this, that it's simple, pretty simple. That doesn't mean it's, there's anything less powerful about that. I think there's a lot of value in simplicity, and also that they went through a pretty big range there musically, and then also emotionally, and if you want to call it the spirit measurement tool was going up and down, and there's just a lot that can happen in a very simple way. So I want to also mention that when I just did that looping thing, I had a lot going on, but that's not necessary to express yourself. You can just play a cymbal, or just play the tinkatong, or the sansula, or it can just be one instrument. But what's important, and just to touch on what you just said, is connecting with your emotions, and not in a literal way, not trying to do something literal, but to experience yourself, experiencing yourself, experiencing the music, and then maybe reflect on what you did afterwards and say, wow, I wonder what that kind of represented maybe because it's probably something from your unconscious as well. So we don't always know, why we're doing what we do, but we can look back and consider it and maybe, process that. I wonder what that was about. What was I feeling? What was I thinking of? And that's how we use music therapeutically sometimes to express what we can't really think about. We can't really put words to it. We don't have an image. We don't have a clear idea, but it's there. Something is there. And music is a bridge to that, whatever that is. So it can externalize the internal, and it can also externalize the internal unknown things or unrecognizable things. And that is very powerful. And if you're working with a sensitive, trained, qualified therapist, at the same time, they could help you make more sense of it. But ultimately, we all have to make sense of our own thoughts, feelings, emotions, etc. So yeah, I don't know if anybody has any questions or anything for you or for me.
Yeah, for anyone listening on Facebook or YouTube, feel free to post a question or a comment, and we can interact with that. So Kalani,
I know they have
can we look at the instruments again? I know we introduced them,
Sure.
but it's now that you played them a little bit, it might be nice just to talk about them again. So in front of Kalani is the space drum made by Metal Sounds in France. That is a hand pan. So hand pan is the name of the instrument. The model is the space drum Nitro. Nitro because it's made out of nitrated steel. And Metal Sounds is the company, and it's distributed in the US only by We Play Well Together. So he was playing it with the mallets a little bit, as well as the hands. And the hand pan is a wonderful expressive instrument. And it was, that's a D minor version. So it actually, all of these instruments are in the D minor world. This is our D minor collection of instruments from We Play Well Together. And that is one of our kind of core offerings, which is that we have these instruments that are tuned together so that you can play them together in groups or by yourself with live looping, with layering like this, and everything sounds good. So you don't have to worry about which note am I playing, which is a different kind of mindset where you can be with the timbre, the tone, the rhythm, the quality, without thinking about what note am I playing, what chord progression. It frees up a different kind of creativity when you have some limitation. It's a paradox, isn't it? That when we put limitation, that then there's more freedom in other directions. So this is the little Zenko drum. It is a tongue drum, and it has a very bell-like sound. You can see there's little slits in it that are cut out by lasers. And like we said, we lovingly call that the baby turtle because it looks like a baby compared to the big hand pan below. And it is in tune with that hand pan, but it has a very different frequency range, much higher, brighter sounds. Really, really sweet.
You can also play it with your fingers.
Oh, they sound so nice together.
And it comes with this.
Yeah. Actually, that
neoprene ring.
Actually, the neoprene ring goes with the bigger one. That one, it has a little feet on the bottom, so it doesn't even
That's right.
Yeah, it has little feet. See how cute?
That's right.
Little feet.
It doesn't need the ring, but I put
Doesn't
it in
need the ring. But I love how lightweight that one is too. You can just put it over your shoulder and climb up a mountain, and it weighs almost nothing. And then this is the Tinkatong, a wooden tongue drum, and that's actually a preview one. These are going to be these new tunings are going to be released soon. So if you're interested in that, reach out to us because it's not quite ready for the website, but they're kind of in pre-order stage. And that is also a tongue drum where the tongues are cut out of the wood, and it has such an earthy quality, doesn't it? And a shorter sustain, so it has this. there's something almost whimsical about it. Somebody who is playing at an event recently said it reminds them of Super Mario Brothers, where it's like doo doo
Mm.
doo doo doo. So there's something really kind of sweet and almost innocent about it, don't you think, Kalani?
It's got a really fun. It's a fun instrument. It sounds a little bit like marimba, um, which is actually ubiquitous if you listen to like radio, like podcasts. People love to use marimba music, but there's a lot of music out there there's a lot of like little wood. I don't know. It's like the ukulele of percussion instruments. Just simple and nice. And what I like about this too is that it just feels great. It's smooth. It's the kind of instrument you could put on somebody's lap. You know, if you got a elderly parent who's chair bound or wheelchair bound or in bed and they can't get it, you can go in there and you put this on their lap and you give them a mallet and you have your Zenko or whatever other instrument and you can jam. It's really awesome. And yeah, so this one is great.
And then you didn't play it today, but would you just play the kalimba because that goes with
Yeah,
the tuning
absolutely.
as well?
And let me refocus this camera for a second. See if I can get up there. Yeah. So. And these are tunable. You can loosen this bar right here, and then you slide these back and forth, and you can retune it. I haven't retuned this one yet. And then also, if you put it on something, I'm just going to touch the top of this drum, but listen to the difference. I'll focus again. Let me see.
Ooh,
It's got a little buzz to it, but that's kind of cool, actually.
it is cool.
You can do the same thing.
I have never done that,
except
Kalani.
I
I'm
can't.
so excited. I'm going to have to play kalimba on a handpan now.
You can put it on here too. I'm going to try to hold all this. I don't want to drop anything, but as opposed to. So these are great on a tabletop or a drum head or anything like that. It's instant amplification. But yeah, that's fun. Any other questions on this or?
We have a
Things we need to
question about which you might. This is a big topic, but you might have some insight. Which is Raymond asked, "I'm a passionate drummer and gardener, and I'm certain they react to mood and music that I play in my studio." And then the community here is going back and forth about articles, resources about music and the plant world. And then there's how music affects plants. You can Google that. So I have like some anecdotal, I guess, experience with that, but nothing concrete. But I'm wondering, I think you garden, don't you, Kalani?
I do, but separate from music. Yeah, that is an area I'm just gonna avoid commenting on that area only because I don't have any personal experience with it. It's not something I've studied. There was a Native
same here.
American style flute event. Yeah, that I went to a Native American style flute event, and a woman did have this really interesting thing, and it was maybe some of the people watching know about this, but it was like this device that you connect. You put one electrode like in the soil and one to the plant, and then the plant sends these energy changes, and then that gets converted into MIDI signals, and you can have it set up so the plant is what's the right word? Triggering a sound source like a synthesizer or something. And they say that the plant is playing music. Now, of course, it's kind of like a random energy source that we're hooking it up, and then like you said earlier, we're selecting certain notes for the plant to play. and then it comes out, and so you could have like a pentatonic scale, but the plant's activity, electrical activity, is triggering it. So it's pretty cool. So you can play, with the plant, and you could respond to the plant, and some people believe that the plant would then respond back to them, and that may be the case or not. I don't know personally, but I think it's something that's really interesting and fun, and it's kind of like playing with nature. You can play music with anything in nature, any sounds. From the tree leaves rustling. Well, not you, not yet. You
Not
gotta
yet.
wait for the leaves to grow
Gotta
back.
wait, yeah.
Not yet, but any, yeah, you guys know any sounds, any animals, streams, wind, trees. It's all awesome. As far as the plant music, though, I don't know. You know what? It's anecdotal. If you do this and that happens, and you do this and then something else happens, I mean, that's what it is, right? That's what you've noticed. There may be other factors, though. I'll just say as a kind of I'm a little bit skeptical, and I like the scientific model. So if you want to test it, test things out and do an experiment and try to reduce all your variables, so that you're sure that what you're doing, the experiment you're doing is actually a valid experiment. But yeah, I'd say go for it and have fun. But the bottom line is, play music and explore and interact with anything you want, and just enjoy it.
Awesome. Yeah, I will add to that. I don't have any personal experience around that either, but I am a practitioner of a tuning fork modality called acutonics. And when I was at their headquarters, which is in New Mexico, they had this beautiful geodesic dome that they would grow crops even in the winter. And they had their gongs and chimes and things set out. And I don't know to what degree they were monitoring that scientifically, but I do know that it was beautiful that they would go and they would play these healing instruments for the plants, and that they seemed to believe that it improved the quality of the plants. So you can check out acutonics.com. I think they have blogs and articles about that work out there, and I think it's kind of fun. But yeah, I'm of the same mind. I think sometimes we like the idea of things, but sometimes it isn't scientifically provable.
Yeah,
But
I mean, and the
I think
reality
there's
is
a lot
that
of research around it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and the encouraging thing that for me anyway is that look, if you hurt yourself, your body is automatically going to heal, right? Everything moves towards healing in the universe, really, or let's just say everything returns towards its original design state, right? As much as it can, and we call that healing, when something returns to its original form or state, or its designed state or form. Does that make sense, right? So we, and to the degree that we nurture things and we're stewards of ourselves and on the environment and each other, everything will move towards the ideal or preferred or designed state that the state it was designed to be in. So I think that's it. As much as we can do that, I think we'll enjoy the results, and we'll consider it to be successful, and we'll say, yes, this is great, that all these things we're doing. I would think that intention and what anything else that you're doing, obviously if you're playing music for your plants or whatever the situation is, you're probably doing a lot of other things for the plants too, and taking really good care of them, and they'll take care of you, and it's a symbiotic relationship. So I don't know if it's only the music. It could be everything as a whole, that's a holistic improvement, right? Because of your attitude, because of who you are, because of what you're doing, how you live, I think every little thing adds up.
So Kalani, we're about 52 minutes past the hour. The time went really quickly. Do you have an encore in you? Would you like to do another little demonstration before we say
Sure.
goodbye?
How about a request of anything or a dedication? Well, why don't we do this? Let me answer my own question. Since I'd like to go back to what you started with, Joule, which you mentioned that you had a loss of a friend, and that is never easy, and it's hard. It's a difficult time, and So why don't I just say this, that I'll do my best to just play in a way that honors everybody and anyone who has experienced either now or in the past, processing the loss of a loved one, a friend, a colleague, and we can just go from there. How about that?
Beautiful. Thank you.
And and why don't you all, if you want, it's not a requirement, but I would say if you all would like, put the person's name in the chat, and just as a way to kind of acknowledge them. You don't have to put anything you want in the chat as a remembrance, and we'll just close this out with that idea. And how much time am I taking for this, roughly?
You could take about 6 minutes or less. We can,
Okay.
however much you want.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Kalani.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks,
Mm,
everybody. Thank
mm-mm.
you, Joel.
Hmm. Thank you to everyone who joined us live today. We had some great conversations in the chat. Thank you, Kalani, for your time and your energy and your expertise and offerings. For anyone from our side of the audience, please go to World Drum Club and give Kalani Das a follow, and consider the Patreon side where you can get all kinds of bonus yummy goodness. So much content. It's just whew, so many incredible people too. I think some of Kalani's people are here today. I want to thank you for being part of the World Drum Club community. And for any of you new to We Play Well Together, I very much encourage you to go to our website, which is weplaywelltogether.com. And there will be a pop-up where you can put in your email address and get 10% off of Kalimbas, chimes, or the tongue drums. And that doesn't expire, so you can use it whenever. You know, with websites that offer things that I want but I might not be ready to buy, I like to have like a little folder in my email. It's like, oh, those are all the discount codes for all the things on my aspirational wish list. So go right now and get your 10% discount so that when you're ready for your next instrument, that you can get a little gift from us and be a part of our community as well. Oh, thank you for the such nice messages, Roseanne. Thank you, Jewel and Kalani. A lovely and enlightening show. Oh, thank you, Barry. Thanks for hanging out with us the whole time. And Kalani, any closing words before we say goodbye today?
Just thank you, and I appreciate that. Appreciate being invited, and yeah, thanks for everybody who showed up and your, just your kindness and your presence and your thoughts and requests and questions. It's wonderful to be involved in the community, and as are all of you. And just lastly, I mean, and I always say this on my channel and our live streams as well, is just go out and make music and go play for somebody, and go play with some kids or some older adults who don't get out much. Whether you or people you don't know, just go play. And it's amazing if we all do that. We will help change the world for the better, and that's all. If we do that while we're here, that's awesome. And music helps. And so thank you to We Play Well Together. Thanks, Jewel. And yeah, just have blessings to everybody. Have a wonderful week. One last thing, we do a live stream every Tuesday called Tuesday Muse Day. It's at 5 Pacific on the World Drum Club channel. Look it up if you want, and there's lots of music there. We do that every week. But we'll be back, I guess, whenever, maybe monthly, maybe.
Yeah. Well, we
Something
started
like
out
that.
saying we were going to do it monthly, and it's been a couple months because life happens sometimes.
Yeah.
But our plan is just to be live together monthly. So if you have any future requests, things you'd like us to try or explain or demonstrate, be happy to do that. Kalani, thank you so much. Thank you all. I am going to say goodbye with a little video. Actually, I'm going to just play the beginning of it, and then I'm going to fade it out. And this was as I said, my friend passed away, and I took the monochord up into the mountains and made this video of me just playing and vocalizing, and I lit a candle and slapped some reverb on it. So it's a little remembrance video, but I think it's a nice, peaceful way to go out today. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you next time.